Good morning, traders. Today is Monday, December 12th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Thank you for joining. All right, well, what are we expecting this morning? Well, first thing this morning, we're expecting chop. We're expecting the market to grind up and down because we are opening inside Friday's range. But the question is, which way is this chop going to take us? Are we able to get above yesterday's high? And if so, are we able to find support up there? Now, I just want to make a case for caution this morning. And the reason I'm going to make that case is this looks a little bit like the beginning of a balance area to me. This feels a little bit like a balance area low, and this feels a little bit like a balance area high. So in my mind, that tells me we are in a range where the market might play some games and just spend some time grinding around in here. So I won't really get bullish unless we get above the overnight high and we can find support up there. Otherwise, what we may get is a look above yesterday's range that fails and pulls right back down. And same thing to the downside. If we can push down and we can get through the support that we have around 64. So we spent all this time, brought in all this volume on Friday, and then again in the overnight over the weekend. It was also there on Thursday. So that's good, strong support. If that holds, we may go higher. But until either that breaks and we start to head lower, or we find support above here, I'm really just looking for chop in the middle. All right, so there's the first question. Can we get back above Friday's high? We did that. So now do we just poke above there and start pulling back down, or can we get above the overnight high at 39.30 or 39.84? Another thing that adds to the idea of balance and caution up here at the highs is the fact that we had the spike down at the end of the day on Friday. That spike down was a sign of momentum to the downside. Now, the fact that we opened above that spike just basically takes it away. It's not there anymore. We're not worried about that spike or the momentum from that. But again, if the market was looking to go higher today, why did we spike down at the end of yesterday? You know what I mean? So that, again, feels a little bit balance zone-y to me. Balance zone-y? Is that a new official term? Do we like that? All right. Well, we pulled back in. We poked above yesterday's high. We pulled back into the range. We are starting to get some support here and create some good taper. Whoops, that's way too big. And create some taper in here. So this could be buyers trying to get back up there and test that overnight high. Can they do it? All right. So because the overnight inventory was almost all net long, right? A lot of the participants had to be buyers to push the market up here this high over the weekend. We have just now given all those buyers a chance to take profits as the market gets back to the zero line this morning. And so now we can ask ourselves, is the market getting new buyers or new sellers from here? Were the sellers that were holding the market down, was that just those overnight longs taking profits? Or is there just no one who wants to buy up here? Let's find out. Can they hold the ticks? Morty says, wondering about the rollover. How do you handle previous levels when rolling over and etc.? Well, the software that I use, the company that provides my data, this contract right here, it is the continuous contract. So what it does is it basically just rolls over to the new contract on that exact day, whatever the official rollover day is. And then it keeps all the previous levels exactly the same. And that's the way I use it. Any levels that were created on a previous contract, on the new contract, I look at those as the same levels. A lot of people get really upset about that, but it works. It works for me. So as for rolling over, everybody should be on the H contract by now. H it up. Michael says, do you really think we could get anything but chop today? Everyone waiting for the Fed on Wednesday and CPI on Tuesday. I don't think the market will do much today, but I'd love to be wrong. Yes, I would love for you to be wrong as well. No, it could just be chop. It'll be tradable, though. Like I said, if it's a balance area, if it starts to feel like a balance area, if we start to break the overnight lows, there's opportunities in recognizing what the market's doing, even if it's just chopping it up. The first sign of that, by the way, look above and fail of yesterday's range and the failure to test the overnight high. Speaking purely about probabilities, there is a very high probability every single day that at some point within today's trading day, we will test either the overnight high or the overnight low. So when you get really close to testing the overnight high or the overnight low and you don't do it, it becomes what we call a when what should happens doesn't. So essentially, if we came this close to testing the overnight high, knowing we have a very high probability of at least testing one or the other. If we fail to do it, it increases the odds. We're going to test the other. Now, we're still in a chop zone here. Anything is possible. I'm not making a call yet for that, but it's just a first thing to make note of. We know if we try to get above the previous day's high and we can't find buyers up there, that increases the odds. We have to go lower looking for them. And we know if we can't get up to the overnight high, that increases the odds we have to test the overnight low. So we're just starting to build up pieces of information here. And now we're going to test the support. So we don't have the buyers up here. Do we have them down here? Are there buyers waiting in this overnight range? Let's find out as we chop it up. Morty, so you use the exact level, say a previous high was 3,900, was weak on an old contract. Would you still consider 3,900 weak on a new contract? Yes, sir. I don't change a thing. I know sometimes the contracts don't line up perfectly dollar for dollar, but I still just do the same thing. So for example, let's say I'm on H now. I would not go and look at what was Friday's high on H and then mark that. I would go with whatever Friday's high was on the previous contract. That's Friday's high. And then I literally just keep going. I always recommend for charting purposes, if you can, whatever charting package you have, it's best to use a continuous contract. That way you don't have to physically roll everything over. You just roll over the contract you're actually entering trades on. I do that with TradingView as well. I use the ES1 exclamation point for charting. If you have not yet, please smash that thumbs up button. I sure would appreciate it. Get the word out that this is a cool place for people to come hang out. Nora says, NQ time. Let's check out the queue. Interesting. So the NQ also looks like it's setting up for balance, although it looks more like a channel. Right? Something that looks kind of like that. So in the same way that I was looking at the high on the ES, like, this looks a bit like a balance area high, you might look at the low of the overnight that way for the Q. It may just need to poke below there and fail, and that'll trigger a move higher. But it's certain both markets are in balance right now. So we're looking at support and resistance inside the range until they break one of the highs. So for the Q, you got support at 11,663 and 11,650. And if you dip below that overnight low, which is at 11.6, looks like about 35. If you dip below there, come back up and find resistance, it's bearish. But if you dip below there and just pop right back up, look for a move higher. With that potential trend support there. Volume's very quiet. Tempo's very quiet. The big boys, they're not playing this morning. Mark, I've rolled over today for the contract I'm trading. I'm on H. Oh, it also just occurred to me this is the node of death. Okay, so that gives us another kind of interesting thing to keep an eye on. So we know the market has got to break away from the node of death. Like we're talking big, not intraday today. We're talking bigger picture on the daily. We know we've got to break away from this big node. Okay, so which direction do we break? Whichever direction we break, we should be making a move to the next major node. So pretty much just keeping an eye on that, 69.70 area. If we break higher, we're probably heading up to 40.35. If we break lower, to 39.27 and then 38.76, or sorry, 38.80. That's one really important thing. If you just want to kind of zoom out and not be too locked into the intraday, big picture, the market has to move from one big node of volume to the next. And we've been stuck now right on the node of death for a few days. So if we're going to break, we could get a bit of a break. Obviously, I consider that A period low even weaker because it's right on the right on the node of death. But if we can start to find some support up here above the overnight high, I will get bullish. So once again, pushing above yesterday's high, pushing above 79. increases the odds of a test of the overnight high, 39.83. And then we have to find out, are there new buyers up there? Can we keep the market above the overnight high? Can we keep the ticks above the zero line? Only then can we look for continuation higher. Otherwise, they may just need to test the overnight high, and then they come right back down. So we're looking for that support. Okay, man. I have a feeling it's going to be such a slow day. So the next thing we're looking for now, we were looking, can we get support at yesterday's high to test the overnight high? We could not. So now we're looking at the halfback at 39.75. Can that become support? When we're in a chop zone, if we are going to break one side or another, often halfback holds before so. So if we're going to break the high, we'll find support here before we do it. If we cannot find support here, more chop. Ross B says, what platform are you using? The market profile that you see here on the left is a company called Window Trader. The internals that you see back here, that's Thinkorswim from TD Ameritrade. And then the one that you see pop up occasionally over here on the right is Bookmap from Bookmap. Data feed for Window Trader, IQ. Moment of truth. Can they hold it? Either halfback holds or the chop continues. Anthony says, the high-end stuff. Yeah, it is the most expensive one. But it's because of the live streaming. I can't, I had a few times where my data didn't work here or there, and it was embarrassing, so I had to get the good stuff. But there's tons of market profile options that are very, very cheap or free. If you Google it, you'll find them. 7 Mile Reach. What dates am I taking a break? This is the last week. This Friday's the last day for this year. And then I start up in the new year. Okay, so the market is finding support at the halfback, once again increasing the odds of a test of the overnight high. Boring Mondays, na 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 na, where the market just chops, na 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 na. Boring Mondays. We're back again to test the support. It is ridiculous to me how hard of a time the market is having getting to that overnight high. Just keeps getting slapped down. I wonder if there's something sitting there in Bookmap. Nope. Okay, another sign of rotation and chop. We now have a week high and a week low. Weakness on both sides of the market is a sign of uncertainty. So what do we know is happening right now, right? Buyers keep stepping in and trying to push the market up, but then they're getting shoved back down. So somebody's going short up here. And where do you suspect they're putting their stops? If they're getting short in here, their stops are probably right up here. Just creating some liquidity that the market needs to poke up and test. It just can't leave that liquidity behind. It's too good to be true. So we are looking to test that overnight high and see if there's new buyers up there, or we just have to squeeze these sellers that are trying to short it. Well, anybody got any random questions for me? It looks like the market's not doing nothing. Where you going? Nowhere. $6 million man with the $1 million question. When moon? I was just thinking about that this weekend. When is bear market over and bull market comes back? I miss those sweet, sweet stonks only goes up days. I realized it's because it's like when the market is in that bull market mode where everybody's optimistic and, you know, the market just keeps creating momentum and momentum after momentum. What's fun about it is when the market's going down, you don't really feel fear. You have like confidence, you know, even if you're long the market, if the market is going down, you know, it's going to find support somewhere. And so you just feel a little more confident trading to the long side when you have the momentum. But in a bear market, it doesn't feel the same way to the downside. It's a very different, there's much more like uncertainty. It's much harder to have confidence either way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to those days when that sweet bull market comes back and we can just have some confidence again. Kathy Penn, are you leaning bearish or bullish? As far as intraday today, like bearish. It feels like we're just going to poke up, pull back down, and then spend the rest of the day going nowhere. All the reasons I listed this morning. This just feels like a balance area, right? A balance area is just an area where the market gets stuck for a while. And look where it's been running out of momentum, right? Every day runs out of momentum, runs out of momentum, runs out of momentum again and again in the same area. So if we can't get some new buyers up here, there's nowhere else to go but down. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have the buyers here, you got to put the market on sale. So to me, I'm seeing nothing telling me that there's exuberance in this market. But I don't know. That's the bitch of a chop zone. The market just hasn't decided yet. That's me guessing what the market will decide, but I could be wrong. People could start to get bullish up here and we get new buyers. I just got to wait and see. Jason, am I traveling or visiting family? Visiting family. Cortman, soundboard for Xmas? Actually, yeah, you're right. I'll get myself one. That's a good idea. Did I watch Pokemon? No, I did not. I didn't even know. Was there a new Pokemon movie or something? Hitting dingers. Have you ever pooped standing up? Yes, I've been camping. I've squatted. Rob S., where did I learn market profile from? The two main sources for me were Jim Dalton, and he teaches classes on his website, jimdaltontrading.com, and Peter Resnicek from Shadow Trading. He used to put out a weekly video where he would talk about market profile on there, and I learned a lot from just watching that for years. It is worth noting there's no substitute to experience. Michael says, look at the technicals on the daily. I think the market will sell off before the next bounce. I think the real bull market will have to wait till the recession bottoms. Yeah, but what if it already has? I mean, you don't know. You can never know. But you bring up a good point. Let's look at the daily. Ugh, yeah, look at that. Balancing, just balancing it up. Nothing but balance, just balancing it up. Market's going nowhere, don't know what it wants to do. Balance here for me and some balance here for you. I mean, that's nothing. The market's gone nowhere. We're literally sitting right where we stopped on that CPI data that gave us this. Or sorry, that was the Fed. Like, we're still sitting at the exact same spot. So as far as the daily is concerned, your guess is as good as mine. We'll have to take it one tick at a time. Morty, how long did it take you to get consistently profitable? How do you know when you turn the corner? Well, for me, it wasn't one like moment where I became. It was like a process. Like I would have a run where like I would be profitable for a few days and then I'd give it all back, and then I'd be profitable for like a few weeks and then I'd give it all back, and then I could be profitable for a whole month and then I'd give it all back. And it was like I just got better and better, essentially, at not losing. Like eventually, you learn that the process of being a trader is not trying to win money. It's not trying to make gains. It's trying to just play the game and not lose money. And if you can play the game, if you can be trading the market every day and not losing money, you'll make money. I mean, the wins will come if you can protect yourself from the losses. But protecting yourself from the losses is a psychological thing. And so it comes in waves. And it, working on one psychological issue can open up another one. So it's kind of like I'll have like a run of really good trading, couple months, I'll be killing it. And then I'll have like a couple of weeks where I mess up. I get in my own head and I make mistakes and then I get back. And so it was just a process over the years of like longer and longer stretches of profitability and shorter and shorter stretches of drawdowns. Morty says, yes, keeps happening to me. My biggest weakness is not accepting risk losses. Trying to work on that. And you will. And you'll work on it. You'll get better and better every day at accepting losses. And then what'll happen is you'll start letting your losers run too far because you just get real comfortable taking on losses. And then you'll have to work on that again, learning to, exit losers quickly and stay in winners longer. It's a constant balancing act, where you're developing one skill and then the next and then the next. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think it ever ends. $6 Million Man says, that's how I'm feeling right now. Trading for 2 years. Past year is break even. Best stretch was 6 weeks of profits. Blew it in 2 weeks and so on. Yeah. So the trick to getting through the break even phase is really think about it like I just said. At least this is what worked for me anyway. Is don't think about it like I need to make more money. Don't think about it like how can I make bigger profits? I keep breaking even. I need bigger profits. Don't think about it like that. Think about it like, how can I stop my losses? How can I, so you look at that 6 week period where you were winning and then the 2 week period where you gave it back. Just keep doing whatever you were doing during the 6 weeks. Don't change that. And then focus on the 2 weeks where you gave it back. What can you change so that you don't do that again? So that you get the 6 week stretch without the 2 week after. You just focus on fixing the problems that caused that 2 week stretch. And if you keep doing that, what'll happen is those winning stretches will get longer and longer, and the losing stretches will get shorter and shorter. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the year, you'll have more profits than losses. And then it'll be even bigger the next year and even bigger the next year and so on. All right, well, we're back at halfback, but this time, look at those ticks. This time, we have squeezed out all the buyers that there were. So now I'm looking to turn the area above halfback into resistance and then come pushing back through, increasing the odds that we're going to come down and test the week low. Now, as long as we're above the halfback, the odds are still higher. We're going to test the week high. But if we get some resistance now and poke back through it, I think the low is in play. They had their chance to repair the high, and they could not do it. All right, so there's the break back through the halfback, increasing the odds. Then we need to test the low, and the chop will continue. 777 Athletic says if we go test the low, it increases the odds of trending lower in the C period. No, not really. This overnight range just looks very choppy to me. This could be one of those days we stay in a very, very tight range all day. So I will need to see one time framing to trust it. Nunez, according to the Wall Street Journal, investors are losing faith in Cathie Wood's ARK innovation. Yeah, I would assume all the weak hands would have been shaken out of that one by now. Isn't it down like 80% or something? Anyone that's still holding that is a believer. Got to be. Speaking of which, I am a believer. But I think the timing is off right now. Sir Tompum, what's with the 99 block of orders in the book that is staying a few points above and a few points below the current price, no matter where it moves? I don't know. There's always like a little bit of there's like these not arbitrage bots. Yeah, like arbitrage bots that are constantly trading the futures based on what's happening in the underlying shares, right? So like right now at this moment, somebody's buying Apple, somebody's selling Amazon, somebody's, blah, blah, blah. And that is constantly changing the perceived value of the futures contracts. And so there are computers that are purely trading to try to catch those imbalances. If essentially the underlying shares move up a little bit, but the futures price does not, there's a bot that buys to try to catch those little tiny moves. And we call those bracketing bots. They're kind of just always there in the market. This little bit of liquidity, the way you see little dots, they pop up, they disappear, they pop up, they disappear. They're only in the market for 1 second. That's just a computer running its program, and it's like 1 second it thinks I should be a buyer here. And then, something changes in the underlying asset and then it changes its mind and it moves it. And so you get all these little dots of liquidity popping up and disappearing, and they're always right around price. Normally, though, the market has enough momentum to kind of crash and burn through those, and it's bigger players that are moving the market around. But today, there's just no bigger players. So we go nowhere, and those little bracketing bots just trade back and forth. All right, well, this is why you got to hate a chop zone. If they were going to test the low, they should have found resistance at the halfback. So now we're looking at this node around 78. Can this hold as resistance? Yeah, Bookmap's still in the old contract. Geez, that's why the volume's so weird. Man, thank you guys. That clears it up. I don't know what's with that. I'll have to figure that out when I switch streams. Oh, H3. Jesus Christ. Thank you, guys. There we go. Oh, man, the resistance is broken. More chop. This market has no clue where it wants to go. All right, well, moment of truth. I will say they've set themselves up nicely the way they pulled back, recovered the ticks back above the zero line here. If they wanted to break higher today, this is a good spot to do it. Okay, what they're looking to do is to get above that overnight high. They've got a magnet pulling on them right now with the week high, trying to pull price up to there. So they got something to get them up there. And then they've got the ticks for the moment. So if they can push above that overnight high, find some support up there, keep those ticks up above there, they can get continuation to the upside. On top of that, we're just minutes away from printing the C period. So if the C period breaks above the B period high, that means the market is one time framing higher, and it further increases the odds of continuation to the upside. So right now, obviously, still a very choppy chop zone, but there is potential to break to the upside if they can do it. I would say if there was, a bunch of boxes to check this morning to take the market higher, they've checked the first couple. The last two is getting above the overnight high and then finding buyers up there. If they can check those two boxes, I'll be bullish. And there you have it. The C period is upon us. Thank you all so much for joining. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Same place, same time. If you're a member of the brigade, you know what to do. Head on over to the private stream where the cool kids hang out. And I'll see you there. Thanks a lot, guys.